Hey, dímelo, 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 dímelo. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for being here. Buenos dias, good afternoon, good evening. Depends on what part of the planet you're checking in. Welcome, hello to the 2020 New York Latino Film Festival's digital conference series, Futuro. I go by the name of AJ Kallejero Ramos, and I'm excited to host and moderate today's Like a Boss panel. For everyone that doesn't know, I'm a Cancer. I like long walks on the beach, and my favorite movie is The Notebook. Dun, dun. Yes, I'm horrible at jokes, but born and raised here in New York City, 200% Latinx, 100% American, 100% representing our people, nuestra gente, El Salvador, Pupusa Gang. I have about 15 years within the music industry, currently working at Google and YouTube, holding down what is artist relations. And I'm a big believer that we are all a brand and we need to work our brand within a brand. And I'm super excited to be in this panel. Muchísimas gracias. And today's panel will focus on being entrepreneurs in the digital space, the importance of owning your content and using authenticity to leverage credibility. Together, we're strong. Together, we run further. And house rules from the get. We want you to give us your undivided attention as these amazing panelists are going to drop some gems. I'm super excited. I'm ready to take notes. So please, let's introduce the panelists and let's not forget to have fun. Let's have a great time. We're here to empower. We're here to push. And like I always say, iron sharpens iron. All right, I'm done over here. Let's introduce from the Gentleman's Factory, Mr. Jeff Lindor. Thank you for joining us, Jeff. You're on mute, boss.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Super excited. Thank you, sir. And let's bring on Moby NYC's own LaQuann Dawson.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, sir. Social media influencer Michelle Posada.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you for being here.
Thank
And
you.
Streamline Media and Communications, Ahmad Barber.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Depending on where you are.
That's what I said, right? What day is it today again? Thank you once again for everyone taking their time and being here. Obviously, to fight the situation that we're in, we're joining here virtually. But as always, entrepreneurs and hustlers, we're always here to adapt and adjust. I hope everyone is spirit as well. Hope everyone is feeling motivated and lifted. And I rest assured and guarantee you that after this amazing panel, you're going to be feeling light, enlightened, and ready to continue to curate and push culture. And this is all from top of the dome. I'm not reading this. So let's start off with a little icebreaker and let's work our way with Jeff. Then we'll go with LaQuann, Ahmad, and Michelle. Jeff, what's the last song that you played back to back on repeat?
So I'm really feeling the Solange album. So
Okay.
the last song was For Us By Us.
Nice. Thank you, boss. LaQuann, how about yourself?
The last song I played on repeat is the last 2 minutes of Hit Different, SZA's new song Hit Different. There's some secret cut that's not on title that I gotta fast forward the song to listen to, but I've been playing that on repeat.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. Ahmad?
I've been really into Afrobeats lately. I've been listening to Save My Life by Tiwa Savage.
Fire. Michelle?
Oh, I can't stop listening to Hawaii from Maluma.
Maluma's killing it. And shameless plug, don't forget to check out the YouTube Music app. We have some amazing playlists. All right, let's get started and let's dive in. I will be addressing questions to one or two individuals. However, everyone is open to chime in. This is a conversation. We're at home. So let's start off with Michelle.
All right.
Can you please talk to us about your career path and describe what is it that you do?
Of
So
course.
let's start off with
All right. I'm Michelle Posada. I'm an actress and an entrepreneur and social media influencer. I have a restaurant in Miami called Michi's. We've been open for over 3 years, and it's like a very famous and popular restaurant. I focus on healthy food, but made tasty. My background is me as an actress. I have always be passionate about healthy food, about healthy recipes, but make them, with a Latin twist, make them super yummy. And I always share this in my social media, in my Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. And I noticed that the content that people like more than the people that really, really always ask me, oh, I want to know more recipes. I want to know more about your lifestyle. And I saw an opportunity in all these recipes I always share, make them in a menu. I created a menu with all my favorite foods, but made healthy. And that is my restaurant Michis. I also have a wellness brand called Michis Wellness. So we just not limited in the Miami market now. We deliver a lot of our products to the whole country and also to Latin America.
Que rico. Thank you very much. Mr. Ahmad Barber, would you like to go next, please? Same question for you. What's your career path like, and describe what is it that you do?
Yeah, so I actually have two kind of dual career paths. One is as a fashion photographer and art director. So I've been doing fashion photography for about 7 or 8 years now. And I'm currently a part of a fashion duo and with Dante Maurice. And then on the other half of my life, I am a managing partner and chief creative officer of Streamline Media and Communications. It was co-founded with Darren Martin, who we went to college together. And we initially just started doing web design and some consultation. And now it's grown into a family of 3 to 4 agencies. And we work to connect brands and companies to cultures more effectively and thoughtfully. And yeah, that's what we do. On the Streamline side, is comprised of a digital marketing agency, which is Streamlined, our diversity and inclusion agency, which is Bold Culture, and then we have other products and sub agencies as well, a part of that.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing, Ahmad. Mr. LaQuann Dawson?
Hi. Yeah, I'm a filmmaker and photographer, fully freelance. I am Moby NYC's visual director, so I plan all of our campaigns, all the video shoots, all the photo shoots. I run our website, do all the graphics, etc. I am the content director at Risk Magazine. Yeah.
Always working. Always working.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff?
Hey guys, again, thank you so much for having me. Founder and CEO of the Gentleman's Factory. So I'm a community builder, right? I build communities. So we are a co-working social club and membership community of hundreds of Black and brown men across the city, across the country. And our main goal is, how do we partner, collaborate, and build with each other in centralized safe spaces? So, all things community, I'm here.
Community and connecting culture. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, just want to reiterate and say, I'm going to address the question perhaps to 1 or 2 individuals. After that, everyone can chime in. Smooth, open conversation. Michelle.
Yes.
Do you think brands are taking advantage of professional creatives of color for legitimacy?
Well, it's a good time to do it. I will say, like, whoever wants to, be seen and use these creators, for sure should do it.
Thank you very much. Jeff, LaQuann, and Ahmad, would you like to add on to this?
I would definitely say some brands are definitely using BIPOC creatives as tokens, but I think it is up to the creatives and talent to use those opportunities to leverage and get ahead via their career, or building their portfolios, making additional dollars. So it's definitely a double-edged sword for talent to also leverage those opportunities versus just being tokenized.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think that, especially given the time, POC creatives are definitely getting like used because companies need to look woke, or they need to look aware, and so all the companies are going to do it regardless. So it is up to the creatives to like actually leverage that into something positive, financial gain, wealth, and be able to put like their people on, their friends, their creatives, their network on, and take up the space that is not always going to be necessarily sincere, I guess. They're not doing it because of the heart, they're doing it because of like the public image, and they might get in trouble if they do not.
Yeah, and I agree with everyone and what everyone said. Like I think that creatives, ought to really understand their true power, right? And once we really firmly understand that we're the ones that move culture, then we could negotiate better. So like brands shouldn't just send us merch. Brands should send us also a check, right? You know what I'm saying? So like I think that many of us are getting smarter with negotiation tactics, but I think that we have a long ways to go.
Just to chime in there, I actually agree with everyone. I think obviously within our Black and brown culture, it's important that we all unite and we all help each other out and understand and get the same deals and leverage the same deals. And sometimes it's okay to say no. You can't drink off every cup of water. That's how you get poisoned. So respect your value and respect what you're worth and continue to push. All right. This question is addressed to Jeff and Ahmad, and everyone else can respond right after. In what ways can creatives of color gain equity from their work when outsourced by larger companies?
It's knowing their value, right? So I think that, we got to look at the approach from, being an employee to being a partner, right? So when you look at, like, and I'll use the NBA as an example, the sneaker deals now, are no longer a, hey, you know what, like you're under Nike, right? But it's more so of I am a brand in partnership with Nike, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that, like, Kanye model. So like, I think that, we got to really start looking at ourselves as, corporations in itself, right? Rather than you trying to work for a corporation. So, having that model of I'm a business person who is in this space rather than I'm someone who is just looking to get an opportunity. I mean, obviously we need opportunities, but it's also going back to what I said earlier, how you negotiate, because depending on how you negotiate is the terms that you'll get. So, we really got to always understand our true value and walk in it.
Yeah, and just to add on to that idea, I think something that I've learned just over this past year is just the power of ownership in your ideas and in the content that you create. Things like licensing and trademarking and copywriting of all of your products are very important. Understanding if you are an influencer, where your images and your content is going, how it's going to be used. Is it just for social? Is it going to be for a website campaign? Are they going to put it in store? Things like that can help you remain that sole owner. And if you want to sell those rights, if you want to sign that off, you can do so, but be protective of that ownership until you can.
Excellent.
Yep.
LaQuann and Michelle, you guys are good? Straight? All right.
I agree across the board.
Awesome.
I agree as well.
LaQuann, what are some ways in which creatives can be supported?
Okay. So some ways creators can be supportive is keep their network in mind always. And I can't remember who said this, but there was someone who was accepting an award, and they said when you walk into a door, don't go alone. And that's a way that I always try to move when I get an opportunity or someone's trying to hire me for something. I'm like, oh, can I hire my boy to do video, or can I hire XYZ to commission some of their work? And most all of the work that I do is community based, so I'm always trying to make sure that my network is walking in the same doors that I'm walking in. I think that's one of the biggest ways that we can support each other as people who are hiring people and as people who are getting hired.
Thank you. This question is for Ahmad. Ahmad, how valuable is creating authentic content for leveraging credibility?
It's extremely valuable. I think it's important to be genuine in what you produce and make sure that the things that you produce align with your moral code, in lines with what you and your community stands for. As a photographer, and even on the agency side, we get a lot of opportunities thrown at us, and it's important for us to research that client, research that talent that we may be shooting beforehand, to understand that, you know, if I'm working with a particular brand, if I'm working with a particular talent that doesn't align with my values, it becomes inauthentic and just a check. And just doing things just for a check is not always great, especially in today's social climate. So it's important to make sure that what you're doing and who you're working with and what you're producing is aligned with those values that you're also pushing out as well.
Excellent. Anyone else like to chime in?
Sure. I think, you know, when you're creating content, it's also important that you know the values of the brand you're working for, because sometimes, you know, me as an influencer, we, you know, there's a campaign and they offer you like a good payment, and then you have to do more research about, you know, what are you doing and what kind of publicity are you giving to them. And also speaking about community, a lot of times, right now in this, you know, super weird year, I try to, like, you know, commute with other creators as well, like other influencers. Whenever a brand contacts me, I'm like, you know, I also work with these other influencers you want to collab with, and I think, you know, if we all do this together, we, you know, are gonna like get more campaigns. And but it's important that we look for what are we sharing, because we've seen a lot that, you know, a lot of, you know, content creators, especially this year, because I know it's hard, are like sharing anything, you know, or maybe like I'm saying, okay, this is the best water, and then the next month I'm like, no, now this is the best water. You know, it's you need to have some credibility.
I want to chime in too on that one. I would say a lot of the personal work that I've done and a lot of the work that I did earlier on in my career, I was just saying yes, yes, yes to everything. And after I like got the money that I needed, and I figured out like, okay, these are the jobs I don't like, these are the jobs I do like, that I feel passionate about. Even if the check is not where it needs to be yet, like I know that it'll get there because I'll ask for it down the line as I like am practicing and growing and getting better and better. But really saying no to some of these opportunities that are just like, I'm gonna be upset on set, I'm gonna be in a grumpy mood, and I'm gonna be upset because I spent all my time working on this project that I didn't actually care about, and now I can't do like the fun stuff or the stuff that I like do care about, that is gonna come off more genuine, and that is gonna like feature people who look like me and who you know, people who I love and care about and are in my network and in my community. Everything is not about money. And I know like earlier on when we don't have money or we're just starting out, just getting like the smaller checks or getting like any checks at all is very important. So it's nice to get to a space after you get through that period where you can just like say no to things that don't align with you.
Totally agree on that. And I think just to add on there a little bit, I think it's super important to be aware of the culture vultures and understand what you represent. And as an entrepreneur, as your brand yourself, right? It's like, you don't want to be known like that influencer that every other week is getting a different check from someone else. And that's how you start losing the authenticity when it comes to the people that follow you. I'm always speaking to the artists and I'm like, yo, show your vulnerable side. Show your human side. Let people in through your process. Let people fall in love with who you are so they can engage with what work you're curating to the world. My two gems right there. Jeff, was there ever a time where an idea of yours made more profit than you've given?
Yeah. Yes. But my whole thing is value, right? You know, because profit is important, but it's also value. And then just coming back to, you know, just to touch on a little bit about like the previous thing that everyone said, you know, like I think that it's important to, you know, make sure that you find that balance, right? Because, you know, going back to what you were saying, you know, if your followers are now seeing that that you're like chasing dollars, then you no longer have a followership because you lost your voice, and then that's where your value is, right? You know what I'm saying? And then normally when you have a following, it's because you speak and you have a certain, you know, passion or a certain project that you know people care about. So once you lose that, then you lost your following. So with me, you know, as we're you know representing Black and brown men, etc., specifically, we're always making sure that there's a fine balance, right? So we never want to partner with anyone that doesn't fall in line with our mission. And then when it comes to the revenue, you know, we know what we bring to the table, and we know who we are, and then we know who we, what we stand for, and we know the market, right? You know what I'm saying? So you know, we definitely make sure that we're you know compensated handsomely, you know, for our efforts. Especially as it looked at the market value.
Makes sense.
I'm just adding in there. I think one thing I would love to say is I think we have to further qualify what is profit, and if
I
is
like
that
that.
profit monetary or is it cementing a long-standing relationship, and something that you know in on the agency side of things and even on the photography side of things, sometimes you may do something as just an entry level relationship builder that may lead to a retainer, that may lead to a year-long contract, or lead to some type of residual. So that initial idea may not get you a lot of money, and you may feel like you know you just kind of sold it for cheap. But if you kind of have some foresight and longevity, it may pay off completely differently at the end.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, and I'll chime in too. I definitely gotten have done projects where they have made more money from it than I actually received from it. And I think my positive outlook on that is I learned from that time, so I won't make that same mistake the next time. Or just like Ahmad is saying, I leverage that into okay, maybe they'll hire me for campaign two. Or maybe someone else is going to see this, even though I didn't get the check, I did get a billboard. And so maybe people are going to see that billboard and know that I did it, and then that leads to the next job and the next job and the next job where I can ask for more, and I can make sure like my licensing is strictly what I'm asking for, or they're gonna have to pay more if I don't have any ownership of it, and things like that. Because I've definitely gone through the route where I like got paid $400 for a job, and then like I saw the pictures everywhere, and they were used in all these different kind of ways, and my contracts just get tighter and tighter, and my licensing and my usage rights requests just get tighter and tighter, and I just get smarter about it, and again leveraging it.
LaQuann, real quick on that, and because I think it's super important, I was just gonna ask you, like, how do you fact check, or who do you go to make sure that you know you're getting what you know is right? And you're mentioning as to like how your contracts are getting tighter and tighter. Is there any links or any books or any type of recommendations that you can throw some gems at for everyone that's watching?
Yeah, totally. I would say go to hollyratstudio.com. They have a ton of resources. They have a bunch of different courses where they talk you through negotiation and contracts, and there's like 3 courses under each like category, and they're adding to it every week, where they kind of just like break it down in like hour-long sessions, like this is this scenario A, this happened, and then this is what I did so that this doesn't happen again. Or these are like, this is my plain text contract, and this is how I deal with XYZ, so that it's straight to the point and it's covered and it's legal and things like that. I would say Hollywood. They have a lot of resources, and otherwise, outside of that, I would say just lived experiences and just like identifying like that's not going to happen to me again. So I see this. This is where I got screwed over, and this is where I'm going to edit this contract right now. So when I send it to the next person, it's not going to happen again. I'm not gonna look like that. My pockets are not gonna be empty. You're not gonna put a billboard up of mine, and I'm gonna get paid less than it costs to put the billboard up. You know, like yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle, would you like to chime in, or?
Sure. I think also we need to think of the people are starting in the content creator world. A lot of times you're gonna work for free, and you're gonna see that what you're doing is giving a lot of people or that companies you're collaborating with profit. And I think we have to make people know, that people are starting this, know that that is completely normal. That's the way, well, a lot of people started. Me personally, I did tons of free posts, campaigns, content, and it's not like people sometimes think that once I start in this business, it's gonna be like, yes, I'm gonna get a ton of money or anything, and it's not like this, like that at all. So I would recommend people to start the content creator business as a side hustle, and then once you getting more into it, maybe you can do it like your the real thing.
Awesome. And just picking up to like what Ahmad said and LaQuann, it's like, what is profit? And profit comes in all different type of sources, and just making sure that you continue to respect and build on your brand, and know when you're leveraging a relationship to get more credibility for you to push forward, and then obviously know when to say no and know what you're worth. All right, LaQuann, why is it important for large companies to put resources into minority small businesses?
Why is it important for large companies to put resources into small minority businesses? First of all, we need to eat, and we have such a voice. We have such a voice and such an image and such a power. There's so many talent. There's so much talent in minority voices. Minority is not my favorite word, but legally, I guess that's the term. But we have so much to say and so much to do, and like these large companies who have done things the way that they've been done and are they start to see some of this talent and some of these stories that are being told by us, and we start to see them trying to be mimicked or trying to be told by people who are not us. And I think especially now too, people are really starting to see through that, because the stories, like, you just can tell they're not genuine. And so we need to hire minority voices to tell their own stories, because there's too many of us out here, and they're gonna catch the uproar, honestly.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, I think the key word is business. So it's important for any brand to scale, and giving any type of small business awareness and giving them a platform to network and push things out is one thing, but giving them the actual revenue dollars to properly scale, add different resources and tools, give them access to resources and tools and things like that is I don't want to say way more beneficial, but definitely just as beneficial as giving them awareness. And I think it's important to go beyond just saying like, hey, here's Ahmad Barber with Streamline Media and Communication. No, invest in me, give me some money so I can do the different things I can do.
Awesome. Jeff or Michelle, would you like to comment, or should I move to the next question? All right, let's move to the next question. Dígame, excuse me.
No, that I'm totally agree with what they say. And me as a Latina and also a business owner, I'm like in both sides. I'm like a business owner. I'm also an influencer, or I don't like the word influencer as much, whatever you want to call it. I think investing in minorities, I don't like that word either, it's like key right now. And like I do invest in minorities for my brand, and sometimes I get way more like profit of this that I ever expected. So you are supporting your community, or whichever community you want to support, and you also getting back. So definitely recommend it.
And Michelle, during the impact of COVID-19, what have you learned about your business operations? And I'd like for everyone else to chime in as to their personal experiences and the impact of COVID-19 and what they've learned.
Well, from the restaurant perspective, we've been struggling since end of February with all the COVID situation. It was really weird at the beginning, and I also I kind of saw what was coming, and I got prepared for it. It was not like suddenly the city told me you gotta close. I knew that that would happen, so I prepared with supplies, with saving, with getting the costs low in everything as much as I could, and it obviously got us, really really bad. Like the restaurant industry was one of the most affected because people were scared of going out, or even when we were closed, just ordering food, they were scared. So it was really a struggle, but we make people know that we care about their safety. And this was so important to let them know that we are taking care of our staff and our clients, that people got, they trust us so much because, I'm always like shooting videos of like, how's the kitchen working? Everyone wearing masks, everyone wearing gloves. We disinfect each table, each surface, each door. We have contactless menus, and that showing people that you care is like so different, because I've seen, other colleagues in the industry like call me and say, how are you doing? How you keep busy? Um, I don't have, any table. Like, what are you doing? I'm just like, just, showing that we are working on this, that we're just not ignoring it. And I have recommended this to other restaurant owners. I have, and has been, game changer for them. And also that this crisis made me think that, okay, I cannot depend just in the restaurant. So that's why I created Mitch's Wellness. So thanks to the pandemic, I have a side business that is also doing great.
Thank you, Michelle.
Totally, and as for me, so the Gentleman's Factory is a, social club for men of color, right? So then, as soon as COVID occurred in March, it was like, oh my God, like, what are we going to do with our physical space? Like, people can't leave their homes, right? And, my loft is in Brooklyn, right? So, Brooklyn was the hardest hit in all of America, arguably, right? Central Brooklyn specifically, right? So it's like you cannot leave your house, right? So then it's like, what are you going to do, right? We had hundreds of members, that access the space, and we didn't necessarily have like a strong digital platform, but like in a span of like a week, right? We launched the digital platform, and it was really robust, and it helped us to reach more gentlemen, right? So now, we have members literally all across the globe, right? So we have members in Cali, in Hawaii, right? In Puerto Rico, and all across the Caribbean, Nigeria, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, so what I would say though is that like our mission never changed, but our mode of operation changed, right? So our mission is to, continue to add value and add resources to Black and brown men, right? And initially we thought that our physical space was everything, right? But now we're looking at our physical space as a tool. But in reality, we now have expanded across the globe, but our tool is still there. But we have several tools to reach our mission. So I would always say to everyone that's in business to make sure that your North Star is consistent, but the mode of operations, you always have to be flexible in that, because you never know how life will treat you. 2020 was a really interesting year, right? But we fought it.
Internally and externally. LaQuann, would you like
I would love to. So
Awesome.
COVID-19 hit like early March, and I was in the middle of filming for 3 documentaries that I was putting out for Moby. And so we only had January and February to film since this happened. So we kind of we literally had to stop filming. So it's like, okay, well, I haven't gotten the rest of like what I needed. So where do we go from here? Because we have like these deliverables for our grant that like still needs to come out. And so what I learned from COVID is really how to be resourceful, like just at home behind my computer, how to source and how to work research, how to source work from just behind my computer, through an email, through Instagram, like, oh, hey, I'm putting this documentary together. Can you send me like a voice note? or can I have like this clip that you posted on your Instagram page, and can I commission that and put it a part of the documentary? Can I add illustration to this documentary instead, since I can't like be in live filming? So really trying to be resourceful is one of the things that I learned. And then we also do a festival every summer, and it's usually like a live music festival with people there. And so we had to get resourceful with that too. And we did a digital festival where everyone, just tuned in and watched it live. And so we had some pre-recorded performances, and then we had some like live ones through a studio and things like that. So I really just learned how to be resourceful and how to leverage like the time that we have here.
Thank you so much, LaQuann. Let's see. Why is it so important for entrepreneurs to own their content, Michelle? You're on mute, Michelle. Technology.
Sorry,
No worries, please.
and he keeps barking.
What kind of dog? What kind of puppy you have?
I have a poop son. I'll give it to you after. But getting into the owning your content is it's really important. Also, when you work with brands, you really need to check the release, the contract, everything, and make sure that you own that content, because then you will see those pictures in whatever website, maybe not related to the brand you work for. So it's really important that you make sure that is the content you created is for that certain purpose.
Awesome, thank you. Ahmad, would you like to chime in here?
Yeah, I think it's important for entrepreneurs to own their content. Basically, what I was speaking on earlier. Ownership of your content allows you to use it how you want to use it. In being a photographer, owning my images and being able to control where they go, people have to come to me to buy them or license them. Similarly, on when we are creating products on the agency side, we own those products, and clients have to come to us to get subscriptions, come to us to license them for their clients and things like that. So it allows you to push out and kind of spread your products in different ways. Other than if you didn't own them, you wouldn't be able to do anything with them.
Yeah, and if I could chime in, Tyler Perry, right? You know what I mean? Look at the Tyler Perry model. This brother is a billionaire, right? And when I was reading the Forbes article, it was talking about how he literally owns everything. So him owning everything, when you're looking at some of his movies that, may not do, probably not making $100 million in the box office. And you're like, if it made 30 million, right? That 30 million is going to him. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he's pumping out, he's like the McDonald's of content, right? You know what I mean? Just pumping it out, pumping it out. Like I read an article where it said that one of his shows, he did 19 episodes in 48 hours, right? Now, I mean, I love some of Tyler Perry's content. You know what I mean? Some of it is just like, bruh, right? But regardless of the content, he pushed 19 episodes that he owns, right? And he owns the studio, etc. So I think that when you're looking at a model, ownership is really where it's at, right? And as he owns everything, he partners with BET, right? You know what I'm saying? So he's not an employee of BET. He partners with BET. So the two case studies that I'd recommend everyone follow is the Tyler Perry case study and the Nick Cannon case study, right? Because Nick Cannon It's the same company, CBS Viacom, right? You know what I'm saying? It's the same company. For those who know the Nick Cannon story, like I think he got fired by what was it, MTV or one of his shows. But yeah, it's the same company, different negotiation tactics, right? So one is an employee of CBS Viacom, and the other partners. So it's Tyler Perry's corporation in conjunction with CBS Viacom coming together. Nick Cannon, it's Nick Cannon, the employee, working for CBS Viacom. And I'll leave it at
that. I think that it's very important for us to own our content, our ideas, like our mood boards, our images, our videos, all the work that we do in some capacity, because one, just financially, honestly, we don't know where these ideas or these projects can go or will go, and we don't know the timeliness of it. We don't always know like who's gonna see themselves in these things and who's gonna want to invest in them. And if we have all the right ideas and we don't make them put our name on it, and we make sure we like retain ownership, one, that money is gone. Two, that credit is gone. Three, the next opportunity is gone from us. Because we didn't have enough knowledge, education, belief, confidence in said project to be like, nah, I own this, because when it blows up and it makes $2 billion, like my name is going to be on it. I think that like without us owning our own ideas and content, we are really missing out on a lot of potential like personal success that we can feed back into community.
Everyone is just dropping gems over here. It's just getting better and better. Thank you so much. Jeff, how necessary is it for minority-owned businesses to be held accountable for the quality of work they produce?
So that's a really great question. And I'd say anytime that you're in business, your quality needs to be, tight. But at the same time, though, I think that a lot of minority-owned businesses, the struggle that we have is the upfront capital to make mistakes and still come back, right? You know what I mean? Because what happens is in business, like I was speaking with someone yesterday, one of the members of the Gentleman's Factory, right? And then he said something very powerful. He said, I think PayPal, when they were just starting out, they were burning $10 million a year to figure out their business model, right? So it's $10 million that they're just figuring things out, right? Elon Musk, to this day, who's the founder of PayPal, but now with one of his companies, I think it's SpaceX, or with Tesla, like if I'm not mistaken, they're literally just still trying to figure out the business model and just seeing, okay, you know what works and what doesn't work, right? So I'm using that as an example. And then there's so many examples of other businesses that are not minority owned that has the runway to figure things out, and then they'll reach the soft spot. Whereas now with a lot of minority owned businesses, we don't have that runway where we can just, burn money and find where our soft spots are, right? So what I'd say is that, whereas other, groups, ethnic groups who has the capital, their mistakes are written in pencil and our mistakes are written in pen, so it's really hard for us to come back from an era because those mistakes or those learning curves cost us more, literally, where other folks, could just write it off and then just come back even stronger.
Yeah, I'm just chiming in here. I think that to answer that question, it would be twofold. I think one, remember that you're a brand, and remember that the work that you do is associated with your brand. So if you have a particular taste level and a particular pricing standard that you want to charge, generally people are going to correlate that to a particular quality level. So if you're wanting to charge $10,000 for one photo or $10,000 for 30 minutes, the value within that is going to definitely be correlated with the quality that you produce and at the level that you produce. I think it's also important for now, because so many companies and brands are working with different people of color, you are almost representing more than yourself. So if you are working with a brand, you produce something that isn't at the greatest quality level, it's gonna kind of cause them to be a little jaded, cause them to be a little, their perception of working with minority talent to be a little tarnished, and they will carry that on. But if you're doing well, you're actually setting up a domino effect so that after you, their perspective of who they are open to working with is actually more widened, and you're basically promoting another more opportunities within your community.
Awesome,
Yes,
thank you.
I'm agree with this, and also when someone asks like how much are you charging for your job, for your content, for this post, these pictures, this video. Sometimes when I just got to this country and people will ask me that, I will say, well, because I'm Latina, I should charge less. I had that bad misconception. And
Talk about it, Michelle. Talk about it, please.
And I didn't know the power that us as a community have. When I see, when I see right now, after all the experience I have, and like I now share with other creators, and I see how much they charge, and I'm like, what I was doing? I thought the market will not pay me the same for, that's what the media sometimes makes you think. So I think, you just have to put the value of what you have, your experience. Also, I was starting, so, I was a little insecure. Right now, I'm like, when someone asks me, I'm like, and don't say a price. Right now, I ask, what's your budget? And people, some brands push you to say a number. I'm like, no, you say first.
Exactly.
I've learned that.
Same way. Yeah.
My price. What's your budget? Throw me a number. Let's work it out from there. You know what I mean? Show me the bag. I know where you're charging other people. I start fact checking with my cultural brothers and sisters and be like, yo, how much you got here? How much you got here? Add more. All right, sorry.
And also, please note, some of the like when you ask what their budget is, sometimes they are lying about what it actually is.
Yeah.
Sometimes like
sure.
it's $20,000. So you gotta still ask. Like, okay, that's your supposed budget. I'm still gonna ask for the whole thing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And then brands and corporations, they love to underpay us, right? Because they know that we would just take whatever, right? And then also what a lot of brands do to us is they'll say, oh man, we're not even going to pay you, but we're just going to give you the opportunity to work.
Oh my God, I hate that.
Love opportunity.
All the time. Whereas now with other groups, they'll pay them because the budget is there. I used to work in like brand and strategy, and I was a corporate sponsor, and then I managed, millions of dollars a year, right? So I understood that. I mean, the world changed, right? That was like 6 years ago. But I'm saying that to say that, just do it for free and then just put our logo on your website. Those days need to be over. But the problem, though, is, in which I understand the problem, is that a lot of us will do that for the opportunity. So now they're looking at it like, oh, okay, cool. You don't want to put, such and such company to say that we are a partner. Fine, I'll find someone else because there's a whole pool of you guys, right? Whereas now with other companies or with other groups, they'll just give them the money because that money has to be spent, but they're not going to spend it with us.
I think, I'm sorry to just speak out of turn, but I think it's important also for, if you are requesting a rate and you are going to be stern in requesting that rate, make sure that you also are providing an added value to where they can't just go somewhere else. Yeah. They can't just replace you with another person of color and things like that. Like, I'm offering you something. I'm an expert in X, Y, and Z. My imaging looks like this. my tone of voice is like this. So like you're backing yourself up in a way, and you're still pitching. And I think that's probably where, you know, some small businesses falter. It's kind of like after they get that first meeting, they forget that they're still pitching and that they're still, you know, in that meeting phase. And until the contract is signed, and still until you maybe have received that deposit, nothing is solidified. I've been on projects where, you know, we've pitched to someone for over 6 months and still are waiting, you know, and every meeting is like, we love to go with you. Your budget is approved. Everything is great. But obviously they're still meeting elsewhere. So it's important to like never get too comfortable to feel like, you know, I just sent them an invoice and you're just waiting and everything's good. Like you have to still keep that business mind on so that you can pitch and give that added value until the very end.
Yep.
And I think that I agree with all of these points. And I think that a lot of us minority-owned businesses know a lot of these things that were just mentioned. And so like even when you see you know, a new Black show drop or something, and then like the backlash on Twitter that we see versus like what we'll see like for a white show or something, for example. We're very hard on our own work because we know that we don't have like a ton of spaces or a ton of opportunities to be messing up. There's not there's like, okay, that one season of that, next. It's like, no, you gotta come hard because we need a season 2. We want to keep on seeing Insecure and Atlanta and P Valley and all the shows, because like it is good content and there's stories that need to be told, and there are Black people that need jobs and need to be hired. So I think that it seems like we're very hard on ourselves, but these white people and these people with the billions and billions are going to be harder on us in a way more casual and less direct way, where it's just like, oh yeah, sorry, we don't have any more funding for you because that project sucks, you know.
but that's why, going back to the Tyler Perry model, is that you know, there needs to be more Tyler Perrys, right? Because regardless of
I'm sorry, there needs to be, and then also the Tyler Perry's educating the younger generations and making sure that we're learning, because I feel like we are where we're at, but if the younger generations don't learn from our mistakes, or we don't teach the younger generations, then, you know, I'm sorry, Jeff, I got excited to come.
But just to interject as well, there are already many Tyler Perrys who don't know they're Tyler Perrys, and I think that's the issue. If I am a YouTube creator and I have millions of followers, Tyler Perry didn't have that. Tyler Perry didn't have that. Viacom doesn't have that. You know, like if I am one person, millions of followers on multiple platforms, I'm already Tyler Perry, but I don't know how to leverage it. I don't know like what that looks like. So like, it has to be some lessons learned and some teaching there for sure. But there are many Tyler Perrys that already exist.
But then now check this out, right? Going back to models, right? So I always look at models, case studies, etc. One case study is the Kardashians, right? And then hear me out for a second. I mean, I don't watch the Kardashians, you know, like I never watched it, but I always follow case studies, business models, etc. Right. So now they're not doing the Keeping Up with Kardashians anymore, or like I think it's the final season or whatever. But from a business model, so from what I've been reading, right, and I don't, you know, like, and I don't know the details, etc. But it was the time spent on the show, right, and even the money that they'll be getting from Viacom CBS, right, because like I think it was VH1 or that owns it, right, whatever, right. So remember, 3 case studies with Viacom, right? You know what I'm saying? Tyler Perry, Nick Cannon, and also the Kardashians. So the time spent on the show Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the returns that they will get is not as great as their social media. So now they're saying that, yo, you know what? I have millions of followers collectively, maybe 1 billion followers collectively, etc. So now they're saying that, oh man, you know what? I would normally go on this show to push my brand, but wait, I already created my brand, and it's at a snap of a finger. CBS, Viacom, I don't need you. So now what they need is just Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Right? You know what I'm saying? So right. So that's the model. So going back to what you were saying, bro, it's like, you know, there are so many different Tyler Perrys. We just don't know that we are.
Yeah, for sure.
Now the question is, what can we do to make sure that we create that awareness?
I think part of one, digital creators create sometimes for fun and not for revenue. When they do get the revenue, it's like just enough money for them not to care, to scale higher. And I think that's where, you know, the quote unquote geniuses and Tyler Perry's get kind of like complacent with YouTube dollars or the TikTok creator fund and things like that, where, you know, I'm just getting these very small CPMs for my millions of views, but I'm not necessarily going forward and doing like brand deals or doing custom branded content and things like that. But we will have to figure out, too, what benefit is it for me to give you my knowledge for free? So if, let's say, Tyler Perry was to just post up today, like, oh, I got a free webinar on how to scale your broadcasting company, will he do that, or will he want to sell that? So then now we got to figure out, okay, well, me as a digital creator, does that relate to me? Because Tyler Perry is not on TikTok or YouTube. So it's like this whole capitalistic breakdown of like what are the younger creators willing to pay for, and then what are the quote unquote OGs willing to do to help that younger generation get ahead.
Of course. I had a quick question, and anyone can take it. This will be the last question. Just here reminiscing back on a brand deal that I did with a major brand for like a summer campaign. And then after the campaign was done, I'm reaching out to my homie who's a lawyer. I show her the contract and I did. And she's like, dog, you left like 20 G's on the table. And I was just like, oh my. So yeah, it still hurts me to this day. However, how can we assure and how can we ensure how creators can be compensated and what they're worth? Any hacks, ladies and gentlemen, or any websites or info, or what do you suggest?
So yeah, like if I could chime in first, I say, and going back to me being a community guy, it's important that you surround yourself with other folks in your industry so that you know what best practices are, right? You know, because I don't know what the market value is, right? But I'm constantly speaking with other, you know, social clubs or even women organizations and asking them, hey, how much did you charge this person or that person? What's the going rate? So that I know that when I'm in a conversation with said organization or said entity, that I'm not lowballing myself. Because what happens, and me going back to when I was a corporate sponsor, you know, a couple of years ago, is that when someone would give me a pitch deck and then they're offering all of these services and they're saying, oh, all of this would be $5,000, when I have another pitch deck right in front of me with those same services that's charging $50,000. It's crazy because I'll actually pick the $50,000 you know, service because I would think that they know what this entails. You know what I'm saying, right? But going back to creating a community so that you're able to speak with other folks so that you know what best practices are. But I think that we look at each other more so as competitors and not as a union in an organization.
Awesome, Jeff. Thank you so much for the gems. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this up, but I'd like to go around the panel. If any thoughts, any comments, any plugs. It's your work. We just live in it. Michelle, would you like to say a couple words before we end off this panel? Maybe share your website, your social security number. I'm just kidding.
No. Well, no, just keep it up, keep working and believing in yourself. Don't let you know the media or whatever thoughts that you have inside, like what was happening to me, like things that I could not cherish enough because I'm not like a big majority. Now I know I'm important. I have learned it, so you should keep that in mind. And my social media is at Michelle Posada. You can follow me in all platforms.
Thank you, Michelle. Ahmad?
I would say if you are a minority, talent, any descent, doesn't matter, and you're looking for work, contact me. You can contact me through boldculture.com and or reach out to Ahmad Barber on any platform at Get Bold on Instagram, at Bold CLTR on Twitter. And we're looking for writers, designers, any type of creatives, copywriters, video makers, anybody. We produce content of many different varieties. We produce white papers, all of that type of thing. But if you're looking for work, please hit me up.
Awesome. LaQuann?
Yeah. My last little note I would say is do the research, keep your network and your community close, find out what other people are charging, what other people are getting, what you could get, and ask for that number. If you gave a smaller number before, if the ink's not dry yet, ask for the higher number, because you're like, actually the scope of this work is a lot larger, and I'm not going to be doing it for this figure. You can find my work. I have a bunch of documentaries and photo work and campaigns and flyers and lookbooks, etc. on my website at LaQuannDawson.com, and you can find me on all social media platforms at LaQuann Dawson. That's with 2 N's. And thank you all so much for having me.
Thank you. Jeff?
Yeah, and this was amazing, man. AJ, you are fantastic. And thank you for
we are.
and then you all are just amazing, and thank you all so much. You can find me at the Gentleman's Factory. So website gentlemansfactory.com. Instagram gentlemansfactory.com. At Gentleman's Factory. And then one thing that last thing I'll say is that we created an incubator for men of color. Where we do 2 things, right? In employment pipeline. So like if you're looking to work in tech or finance or, corporate America, et cetera, we have a set curriculum. You go through the curriculum and then we'll partner you with different entities so that you can find higher means of employment. And if you have a company that you're looking to start, we have boot camps to help you get to the next level, and then we're also, raising a angel fund so that we can invest in you, so that we could, help you get to the next level. So again, we're so happy for the opportunity to share with you all what we do, and let's continue to build.
This is great. Once again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I guess my last gem would be I want to see more Black and brown content work. We are the majority. We are the general market. We unite, we combine, we continue to push and curate culture. You can follow me on AJ Kallejero with a K, and shamelessly plug again, check out YouTube Music. We're doing amazing things for the culture, driven and ran by the culture. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone that's out there. Live, love, laugh, peace, passion, purpose, and drive.
Bye. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much.
So much, guys.